Hello, Friendly Man here once again, and I am here to do a video on chess tournaments. How do you get a chess tournament started, and what do you do? How do you get it going? I ran chess tournaments for many years. I ran chess tournaments for my club. They asked me to do tournaments. I got so good at it. I started doing my own tournaments. Um, Caused a little controversy in my club. They thought I was stealing chess players away, but I didn't. When they were not having a tournament, I was having a tournament. And eventually, see, they only played tournaments for like 5 months out of a year, so I took the other months that they were not playing. That's why it was but the tournament director was a little bit scared that I was going to steal people away because we have a very small club. Now, so if you if you're here to learn how to make chess tournaments, okay, um, this is the video for you. So the first question that you have to ask is rated or unrated. Okay, you're going to rate the tournaments. Are you going to put it to some kind of federation that's going to rate it for you, or you're going to unrate it? Now, if you are going to unrate the tournament, you can do it any way you want. There's no rules, there's no levels of doing things. It's pretty much it. So I'm going to tell you a story, and if you just want to jump to the rating section of this instead of this unrated stuff, here's the time frame. You just go to this time frame, and I'll be jumping to that point to it. I just want to tell you a couple stories about unrated tournaments, because you get to see some really weird unrated tournaments over your lifetime when you start playing chess. So now, if you ever watched my video called Naming Checkmates, I mentioned a tournament I went to. This was unrated, okay? And they made their tournaments like a bonspiel, like a curling bonspiel. I looked it up prior to making this video, so you guys can be like, oh, what is a curling bonspiel? I actually don't understand how it goes. It's like elimination style, but it seems like the top player plays the bottom player, and they eliminate the bottom players up first, and the best players go on from there. Now, I'm not a curler. I don't know anything about curling. It's just, it was very weird from an elimination style. Yes, we do have elimination style chess in chess, but we don't use it as much. Everything is the Swiss system. Now, I'll have a video in the bottom bar about the Swiss system. That's mostly the heavy lifting right there. If you know how to do the Swiss system, you can make your own tournaments. You just do the Swiss system and do it any way you want if it's unrated. But if it's rated, there's lots of rules. And you're going to have to go to the federation that you belong to. I'm from Canada, so I have to do the Canadian version of it. If you're from the United States, you're going to have to do the United States version of it. So you're going to have to learn which one is which. So I'm in this tournament, okay, and I get to the desk of where you're supposed to register. And I'm like, okay, how many rounds is it? And they're like, how many rounds you can play? And I'm like, that's an oddball question. Like an oddball answer. Okay. How much is it for the entry fee? Okay, it was like $10. Oh, $10, not that bad. I give them a 10. Okay. And then they put your name on a card. Not like a tournament card. Like just a card where they would put like a nameplate kind of a card. And I'm like, okay. And then, so I start talking to the other players, and I found out that this is their first tournament. They have never played in a tournament before for chess. It just happened. This town just got into chess just a couple months ago, and they started wanting to do tournaments. And unfortunately, I was there. So I am tempered with time in tournaments, Like, I'm a really strong player. These guys are not that strong. So I have seen a lot of tournament play in my day. I've seen a lot of openings. I've seen a lot of tactics. These guys, they just started a couple months ago, and everyone's unrated, and they didn't even know about the Swiss system. I did tell them at the end. I said to them, I said, you know, the style that most chess players use is called the Swiss system. I explained it to them how you do it. They didn't understand, I think, because that tournament was never held. Or maybe I took the fire out of the tournament because I won that tournament, and they didn't real. So how I won the tournament, I used the scholar's mate, the three-move checkmate. You know, queen, bishop, checkmate concept, and I did that with everybody. So they didn't really know what they were doing. They had no ideas on the rules, how to play, and stuff like that. And because it was an unrated tournament, they didn't have to do anything. So if it's unrated, it's perfect. Okay, like you can do it any way you want. When I was 15 years old and I was attending high school, a school wanted to do tournaments. So I was able to take a day off of school and go down to another school and play in this tournament. Okay, I was representing my school. And how they did it with a big giant wheel. They put their name on the wheel, okay, and then they rotated it around like tick 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 tick, and whatever name that got landed on, that's who you played. Okay, and I'm like, okay, that's not the Swiss system either. And at this time, I was playing, you know what I mean, in tournaments. I didn't do too well in that tournament. I was, I think I was only playing like 3 or 4 years at the time. Okay, so that's how you kind of do unrated tournaments. Just, get some boards. It's like a club, you know, get people to play each other, and, if this guy wins, that's 1 point. If they draw, it's a half a point. If you lose, it's 0, you know. Now, rated on the other hand. Okay, so the guys that jumped ahead, here it is, the rated tournaments. Rated, you have to follow the rules of the federation that you're with. So, like I said in my unrated thing, I'm from Canada, so I have to follow the Canadian version of it. So, now the Canadian and the American and FIDE are pretty much similar. They're very, very close to each other. So, very small differences, like when you're writing down what's it called? You have a pen and you have to write down your moves on the score sheet, and so when you're writing it down, Canada version is you must, what's it called? Write down your moves first, then make the move. And FIDE, you make the move first, then you write it down. Okay, truth of the matter is, most tournament directors, also we call them TDs, tournament director. So most tournament directors won't care about that. I don't care if you move then write, or write then move. Okay? It's not a big deal. And I have seen big tournament directors, people that have FIDE level tournament directors freak out on that thing. Don't freak out. Don't care. Really, just don't care. If you're a TD, don't care. If you see someone make a move and write, or write then make a move, you know what I mean? Don't worry about it. Okay. The only thing you should worry about if if he writes down a move, then makes a different move that he wrote down. Okay. Maybe point out to him after the game. I said, hey, I noticed that you wrote down a different move that you wrote. These score sheets are actually meant to if there's any dispute, because you're going to have disputes, you know what I mean, like this move here or this move there. But because you saw him write down a different move, you kind of don't rely on his thing. You rely on your opponent's score sheet. You know what I mean? Okay, this is the true position, you know, and then you play it from here, or you make, you know. So that's the differences. Okay, when you're pairing people, now I did a video on this, on how to do the Swiss system. The Swiss system is, okay, the standard in chess tournaments. So you go, there's going to be a link in the bottom bar below. I'm going to try to link the video at the end of this video. I've been having some problems with it on YouTube because YouTube likes these card systems now, so just go to the bottom bar and you'll be able to go to the next video for sure. So now, okay, so there's like you have to alternate colors. You can't, what's it called, pair someone's the same person twice. So you can't play in the same tournament. You can't play the same person 2 times. So you have to play them. Every person has to be different. These are pretty much the standard rules. You can't have the same color 3 times. And I also mentioned that in the Swiss system. There are different kinds of systems in chess. Like I said, in the unrated portion, there is the elimination style. It's not really used very much. These are meant more for major tournaments and trying to find a major winner to who would play the world champion. That's what's it called? When he gets this. There's also the round robin version. Round robin, you have to get a round robin pairing sheet. It's pretty simple to get. Just type in round robin pairing sheet, and people that like round robins, you have to have an even number of people. Okay. A good tournament director, if there's an even number of people, the tournament director sits out. If there's an odd number of people, the tournament director goes into the tournament in a round robin. Then everybody's playing everybody. And so that's a good thing for a tournament director to know. For even, you know what I mean? You can just sit around, you know, watch the games, do judgments, rulings, get your pairings done, you know, perfect. Okay, so now I hope you made a decision on if it's going to be rated or unrated. Now let's continue on with the lesson. Okay, 2 weeks. So if you have less than 20 people in your club, less than 20 people, every 2 weeks is pretty much a good thing. You don't have to. This is all for a schedule-wise. You don't have to do 2 weeks. Okay? 2 weeks is not, what's it called, a rule by any federations. It's just you have to keep in mind the players that you're dealing with. Okay? The players that you're dealing with, they're going to be, what's it called, 1 week they're going to show up, the next week they're not going to show up. Why? Because they have grocery shopping that they have to do. There's some people that they have to run into. They have, you know, there's dentist appointments. Most of the people that you are going to be pairing for are going to be working from Monday to Friday. Those are the most. There are going to be people that are going to be working on weekends. You know what I mean? And you won't be able to get them. It's all up to the people. So we find 2 weeks is the best if you have under 20 people. And this is my greater than sign. It's less than 20 people. You're going to have every 2 weeks on a calendar. So then because you don't want, because not everybody's going to show up. Right? That's the truth of the matter. Is you're going to get out of 20 people in your club, you know, the 20 people that are in the tournament most of the time, you're going to be getting around 10 people, 12 people, something in that nature. Okay? You can do a tournament with 6 people. 6 is the right amount of people to do it on. Now, let's say you booked a tournament on a certain day and no one shows up. And it happens. It happens. No one shows up. What do you do? You know what you do? You sit there until 12 o'clock or 12 to 1 o'clock. Yep, that's what you do, all right. The tournament must go on. Okay? If only one person shows up, you're going to say to him, hey, let's have a versus match. Remember I said there's different things? Versus matches are one of them. Where you'll sit down and you'll have 5 games. You know what I mean? You'll just alternate colors. You'll flip a coin. Go, okay. Flip a coin and go, if he wins, he gets to pick white or black. If I win, I get to pick white or black, you know, or whatever. That's another version of it. If there's 2 people shows up, they have a versus match. Okay? And the tournament goes on. Now, in these situations, I don't charge them any money. I just go, you know what I mean? Have a versus match, and it's unrated. If they want to rate it, you tell them, okay, you have to give me $3 or $2 or something like that each. You know what I mean? You're not going to take any money out of it. You're just taking the money for the federation. So when you mail them a check, you can, you know, you're not out any money doing this. Okay, so now you have to pick the days on the calendar. So you have the calendar. Okay, so this is a 17, stuff like that. So you do every 2 weeks. So you do one on the 7th, one on the 21st, and then you go on to February, here, the 18th, and stuff like that. Okay, on the calendar. So these are going to be what they call quick tournaments. They're going to be one-day tournaments. You start in the morning, you're going to end sometime in the evening. Okay, every 2 weeks. Okay, and then you're going to find bigger tournaments. You're going to have some big tournaments. So small tournaments, you do a small percentage. In a big tournament, you do a bigger percentage. You're going to see the different percentages later on in the video. Okay, so let's take, this is for a bigger tournament. I'll come back to that. I'm sorry. February, for an example, for a bigger tournament. Okay? So, here is February. So I got the pictures mixed up, but that's my fault. I'm very sorry about that. Okay, I didn't do a dry run. I just turned on the video and started talking. So, what you're going to do is, so you're going to pick a day that, a holiday for a bigger tournament, that doesn't really mean anything. Here in Canada, we have this thing called Family Day. Okay, if it's a holiday, everybody gets a holiday off on this day. I don't know why. What's it called? They called it Family Day. Truth of the matter is, I'm never with my family when on this day. I usually spend most of my time with my church members. Okay, so you're going to pick a day like this. Okay? So, for a big tournament. And it's going to probably be a 3-day tournament. You're going to have it maybe on the 18th, 19th, and 20th. That's pretty standard. Okay? So, the 18th is going to have two rounds. The 19th is going to have 2 rounds. The 20th is going to have 2 rounds. Okay? Now, if you get a little bit more bold, a little bit more thing, you might even do it on the Friday, you know? Okay, you'll have 1 round on the Friday. Okay, let's go back. So if let's say the 20th is the holiday. Okay? Okay? So, now, you'll start your tournament on the Saturday, about 2 rounds, and then you'll have, what's it called, 2 rounds on the Sunday, and maybe 1 or maybe even 2 rounds on the Monday. But don't forget, some people travel out of town to get to these tournaments, and they would like the Monday to um, for their day to take back home. If they're out of town and they come from a smaller community, they might want to get groceries. You got to keep this in mind. Because you don't keep this in mind, what they're going to do is, let's say you have 2 rounds on this Monday, okay? They're only going to be there for that one day, for that one round. And they're going to take off, and they're going to go get groceries. Because while you're in a bigger city, they're going to be able to, they'll say, I don't really care about the prize fund or anything like that. I just came here to play a tournament and stuff like that. So it's just good maybe to have one round on that Monday. Okay, so here we go. This is how I do most of my paint program. So I'm going to do what I usually do in the beginning, and then I'll erase it. Okay, so I would start on a Friday, maybe 7 o'clock. Okay, so 7 o'clock p.m. Okay, why 7 o'clock p.m.? Because most people get off of work at 5 o'clock in the evening. So if they get off at 5 o'clock, okay, p.m., and they want to play in a tournament, it's going to take them 3 hours to get here, or maybe 2 hours. Okay? They're going to go home first, pack, or something like that. Okay? And they'll be able to get to the tournament. So, most people get off at 5 o'clock. So you got to keep that in mind. Okay? Now, let's erase this. Okay, so I'm going to put 5 o'clock again here. Okay, you got to keep that in mind. So now what you do is you start your round at 10 o'clock. Okay? Why 10? Because people want to sleep in. Oh yeah. This is their once and only chance to sleep in. Weekends are their once and only chance to sleep in. You don't want to start at 9. You don't want to start at, what's it called? Sometime where they're going to have to wake up really early. Because they're not going to show up that first round. Honestly, they're not. They're going to be like, skip it. I've seen it. Okay? 10 o'clock's a good time. They're going to wake up at 9 o'clock, and they're going to get some breakfast. Now it's going to be at 9:30. By 9:45, they're going to be driving to the round. Okay? Okay? Now, that's the time registrations happens. Okay? You got to be here around 10. The round really doesn't start until 10:30. Okay? That's when people will start their games, at 10:30. Maybe even 10:45. It's really up to you. Okay? On when they start their thing. Okay. Then, after... So we're going to talk about clocks now. Chess clocks. So, if this is your first tournament, I don't recommend delays or increments at this point in time. And when you get a little bit more bolder, delays and increments. What is a delay? A delay is, okay, the clock will wait 5 seconds before the clock will start again. It'll be like, we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So both sides of the clock will not be running, and it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you'll have 5 seconds, and then the clock will automatically restart. That's a delay. An increment is when you, what's it called? As soon as you hit the clock, you get an extra 30 seconds. But I don't recommend that. What I recommend is each side gets 1 hour, okay? Sorry about my porridge. 1 hour. So, that's going to be on both sides of the clock. So the total amount of time is going to be 2 hours, okay? So if you start your, what's it called, your tournament at 10 or 10:30 or something like that, they're going to get out at, I can't see, they're going to get out at 12:30, okay? Okay, and then you give them a lunch break at 12:30. So it's up to you. Give them a 30-minute lunch break. That seems like a good chunk of time, but you can also give them an hour lunch break. Okay, and that's all up to you on how much lunch time you want to do. Okay, so if they get out at 12:30 after their 2 hours of games, tell them, okay, come back at 1 o'clock if you're giving them a 30-minute lunch break. Okay, so the next round starts at 1 p.m. Okay, and they'll be the same here. Okay, you know, so it'll be 10 o'clock, let's say. Okay, and then they'll get out at 12. Okay, and then at 1 o'clock, p.m., they'll start the next round. Like I said, only have one round for this thing. Okay, start out at 11. It's a little bit different. It's your choice. You can start at 10 too. You know, whatever you want. One round, and you see, 2 rounds on the 18th, 2 rounds on the Sunday, 1 round, that's 5 rounds. Okay? And you can make it 6 rounds by putting a round on the Friday. Okay? So these are some things to keep in mind when you're playing chess. Okay. So now we know what to look for bigger tournaments. You know, pick one with a holiday. Okay, so what is the split on how much you should give for prize fund and how much you should keep? Okay, the standard is a 70-30 split. Okay, with bigger tournaments, you have different splits. I will go through that. Okay, so let's say you have 5 rounds in the tournament. Okay, 6 people show up at $10 a thing. Now I have this little arrow, 6 people and up. Okay, now the reason why I picked 6 people is because that's a perfect round robin. You don't have to do any, get this, any Swiss system. Everyone's going to play each other. All you have to figure out is white and black. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. But if you get more than 6 people, you're going to have to do the Swiss system. Okay, so let's break it down. Okay. So, for 6 people, you're going to get $60 from everybody. Okay, now in my tournaments, I usually have small mini games that I collect extra money with, you know, like solve this mate, and then I do 50-50 draws and stuff like that. If you want, you know. If you don't want to do that, that's okay too. So from there, okay, it's going to be $42 that are going to be in prize funds. And then you're going to have $18 that you're going to take home yourself. Now, what I do is, for a bigger tournament, I might just take the $10 and this $8 I will put aside somewhere, okay, and save it up for the bigger tournament. And then I use that tournament to, to pad a bigger tournament. You know, just to help it out, to make it, you know, it's like, oh, I have a guaranteed prize fund, or I have something. This is something to keep in mind, to think about. Okay. Now you're going to have $12. Now, back in 2008, to rate a tournament, it was $2 per person. So 2 times 6 is $12. So you'll get $30. Okay, you'll have $30 for first, second, and third. Okay, so first place will get $20. Second place will get $10. I always like the next price is like kind of like you're giving his money back. So the second place person gets a, what's it called? He gets like a free entry into the tournament. And then third place, he gets a free entrance to the next tournament. And whatever next tournament he shows up, he gets a free entry. It's a good way to get people in there. But granted, what's it called? It does play on your money that you're going to get this $18. You're not going to get, $18. So just a way to start thinking things. So this $12 goes to the Chess Federation of Canada, or your federation. Now, I made a mistake. I didn't look. I should have looked at it first before I made this sheet, because it's not $12. Depending on if you're using a pairing program or not using a pairing program, you might be paying to $3 to $5 on the situation. You're going to have to go to the tournament place that you go to. Okay, bigger tournaments. Okay, in a bigger tournament, you charge more money, $40. Okay, and when you are figuring out when you're going to have the tournaments, okay, you're going to tell people, I want money on a certain date. Okay, and if I don't get the money on a certain day, walk-ins, we call them late fees, it's going to be $50. So there's going to be an extra $10 charge. That extra $10 is all yours to keep. That's yours to keep, okay? You don't even, that's not going into the prize fund. Okay? So you want more walk-ins than more people. You know what I mean? It's more money for you. Don't do ridiculous late fees. No one shows up for ridiculous late fees. I have seen this happen at the Canadian Open. Where when I first started, it was $90 for a late fee. It was $90 to enter, and then when you showed up, it was $200. It was more than double. So, like, it would have been $180 if it was double, but it's like an extra $20, on top of it. It's more than double than your late fee. I have heard people say, I'm not paying that, I'm not playing in the tournament, I'm not going down there. Okay? And the thing is, people lose more money that way, they don't gain more money. More people show up, more money's there. So that's something you have to think about. And in a bigger tournament like the Canadian Open, you're not getting your money, what's it called, on tournament fees. You're getting your money on, what's it called, demonstrations and, what's it called, mini tournaments like Blitz tournaments and 960 chess and, a whole bunch of other little mini games that when they're not playing, that's when they're playing. But in those bigger tournaments, they're usually 10 rounds. They last a whole week. That's a totally different thing that I was talking about prior to this when I was showing you. Sorry about that. I have a cold. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, here's the tournament fees for the thing. So it's like $3 per player for a regular tournament. A regular tournament is an hour and more, and then you have your quick tournaments. So or your quick tournaments. Where is it? Quick tournaments. That's $1.50 per player. That's if you're using the Swiss tournament. This is a Canadian website, of course, if you're a Canadian. Now, quick tournaments. Back in my day, it was 30 minutes. Had to be 30 minutes. That's 30 minutes on both sides, so an hour full game. So those are the one-day tournaments that I was telling you about. But now they changed it to 5 minutes, so you can have blitz tournaments and pay this price, $1.50. Okay. This is your round robins. Fees and stuff like that. And okay, let's go on. No, I thought I wrote a different sheet. I guess I forgot to save it. Okay, so Maybe it's a little bit later on, I guess. Okay, a standing sheet in a bigger tournament. Okay, in a bigger tournament, it's priced a little bit different, 90% to 10%. Okay, you got that's they want to see more money in a bigger tournament. In a bigger tournament, you have more hours and stuff like that. And that more money will draw more people. Okay, that's how that works. And things that you have to do is have a standing a standing sheet where you have your pairing sheet. So where you see where you play the guys, you'll also have a standing sheet. You try to do that in every round. Okay, this is a standing sheet. This is what it's going to look like. Okay, so on round 3, I have it up to on round 3. Okay, this guy is going to be, you know, you're going to be looking at for your friends. You won't really look at yourself very much because you'll know how many points you got, but you don't know how many points your friends have. And you're like, oh, okay, how many points does Paul have? Oh, he has 2 points. Okay, you know, if I beat Paul, if I beat this guy, I might have a chance for first place. And that's called. This is why you have in the bigger tournaments these pairing sheets. You also see these in smaller tournaments if they have a program, and it's just cheap to print off. It's like, neat, print, you know, they put that on a wall. So it's good to have. Okay, this is your pairing sheet. Okay, so you're going to have something like this. This is not a typical pairing sheet. This is a very, very unusual thing. So on board 1, you're going to have white player, black player, and this is where it gets kind of odd. You circle, that's called a win for white, a win for black, or if you had a draw. A more typical one, if you went to the Swiss system, you'll see more of a typical style where you'll have a little things on both sides and where you'll put a 1 or a 0 or a half on the thing. And then you have your rounds, and this guy has up to board 15 and stuff like that. Okay, oh, here's what I wanted to show you. Okay, from the 11 people that we just recently had back here, okay, so this is where I got 11 from. Most likely you're not gonna have, like 11 is a small number. You want something a lot bigger, 20, 30 people in a bigger tournament. Okay, but so for $40 at 11 people, you're going to get $440 right here. For the prize fund, it's going to be $369 minus $33 for the rating fees. Okay, and what you're going to take home is $44 for your time and effort. Okay. Okay. Now, some people do 90 and 10, but another thing you see is 80 and 20. So, same thing, 11 people, $444, $33 for rating fees, but it gets split a little bit different. $352 for what's it called, the prize fund, and then you only take $88. But you take more money back and stuff like that. So it's better for you to do it that way if you think you can draw more people with a bigger prize fund. Now for first, second, and third, I'm going to allow you to figure out on how to, do first, second, and third. Okay? I like even numbers myself. Now, the other thing you have to think about is maybe you all have 3 divisions, 3 sections. You'll have an open section. Okay? These will be everybody over, what's it called, 2,000. So 2,100s, 2,200s, maybe even 2,300s. Okay? You're going to have in the, in the open section. It's called open for anybody in this section can play in this section. Okay? So he doesn't have, if this guy says, hey, I want to play, the 1,600 wants to play in the open section, let him, Usually the open section has more money to give to people have more money. Now, it's usually with this much money, okay, usually you can have first, second, and third in the under 2,000 rated players. I know back in this score sheet here, right here, Everybody is like 1,000, 900. You know what I mean? So if you have a, like really low, don't have like an under 2,000 rated section. Okay, don't have like maybe have like an opening under 1,400 or something like that. It's up to you. You know how you figure it out. Okay, and this is I think is last on the list. Um, 10 o'clock is the standard on what time the tournament happens. I have seen hundreds of tournament directors do 9 o'clock, do 8 o'clock. No one shows up. Okay? And people start showing up at 10 o'clock. They miss the first round, 10 o'clock, and they cancel the tournament. Don't cancel the tournament. You have to build loyalty. If they know you're going to play in that tournament, you're going to make a tournament, if no one shows up or not, then do it. You know, that's one of the key factors. Okay? Get people at 10 o'clock because they're going to sleep in. That's just how they are. It's their one and only day to sleep in. They're thinking, oh, I'm missing the first round, and then I'll play in the next couple of rounds, just as long as I have a couple chess games. And that's good. Okay? And of course, registration is going to be 10:30, right? So you're going to do... Oh, this one's falling. My camera. I hope it stays. Come on, stay. It had to fall, right? I'm wiggling the table too much. Okay. Anyways, then a lot of people, they walk in at 10 o'clock and they say, and if you had your, your registration at 8, you're going to tell them, oh, it's canceled. And then next week or or the next 2 weeks, if you're doing every 2 weeks like I suggested, they're not even going to show up. They're going to stop showing up. I have seen my club go from 24 people, from 12 people, and bad timing on clocks and stuff like that, 12 people to 4 people. There's only 4 people in the club now because of this. So don't forget, people are going to sleep in. Don't cancel a tournament. Start the games at 10:30, and this is the best time to do it. Okay. Oh, I forgot one last thing. Good thing I clicked over. Okay, October and November. It's November right now. This is the time where you want to start looking at the calendar, the huge calendar. Let's see if we can get back to the calendar. Okay, see look at this, where this big calendar is? This is where you start looking at the calendar, and you take these 2 months to start doing it. Okay. That would be easier to go around. Okay. So you take these 2 months to figure out when you want to have the tournaments. And so then you put them on a piece of paper, a nice typed out nice piece of paper, the entry fee on how much it is, how many rounds it's going to be, the time on the clock that you're going to have, okay, and this is the date that you're going to, these are the dates that you're going to be playing. And then you're going to separate, then it's going to be like this, and then you're going to make special ones for the bigger tournaments, like the one in February on Family Day. Okay, you don't want to put it on Thanksgiving because people are going to be eating on Thanksgiving. No one's going to show up. You can have it on Thanksgiving. You can try. I have tried it on Thanksgiving. A couple people do show up. But most of the time, no one shows up on Thanksgiving. Okay? People want to eat on Thanksgiving. And so what you do is, okay, you find the right days that you want for the bigger tournaments. Then you tell them that the time, the day, and try to have a special name for the tournament. My favorite tournament that I used to call was called Chesstravaganza. That's what I called it. And, though they can talk about it. It's like, oh, you're going to go to Chesstravaganza, and, oh yeah, I'll be there at the Chesstravaganza. Okay? And, There's going to be more money. It's going to be a bigger tournament, more time to play, and stuff like that. Okay, so I think I covered all the bases on the tournaments. If I did not cover any of the bases, please write something at the bottom, write something in the messages below, ask me a question. I will make a secondary video on this. I will try to respond to your video by typing it out. You know what I mean? I'll type out the answer for you. Okay, if I missed anything, please watch that other video. It will be in the back here. I'll see if I can link it. Like I said, I've been having some problems. It will be in the bottom bar of my Swiss system. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I have more videos on how to play chess, so if you want to get yourself better, maybe go through my videos. And thank you for watching once again.